start these lives with, I don't know, being triggered. I don't know. Someone said we start our lives being weird.
Oh, really?
Not necessarily weird being the words. Like we start them off with like being pokey at each other.
Oh. Maybe they picked up on the one where we were arguing at the time when we were sharing. Do you remember the one? I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I was interrogating you about starting the lives weird. Hello, everybody.
Hi, us again. Talking about how relationships don't just happen.
I think by now everybody knows that we are relationship gurus. We're like the world teachers of relationships.
Lol.
No,
we value relationships. We value our relationship. We both place immense value on. What are you doing? Why are you...
Shush your face.
No, I'm not going to shush. Why are you flipping things?
I didn't mean to flip
There we are in the mirror. Hey.
I didn't mean
Why
to
are you
flip
doing it? No, because...
Okay, let me do
Yeah,
this.
no, because...
There we go!
Oh my god, okay.
See, I'm good with technology.
Hey Insta, that was on Facebook. So we value relationships, we value our relationship, and we feel like we have some nuggets to share from our own journey, which is what this one is about.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just being sarcastic in my head with me, with us, with ourselves, with like, cause I'm just gonna name it as I feel it and as I think it. It's because I understand that a lot of people associate, probably both of us, to either one thing or another, to being an artist or being an actor, Yana being a director and all of that stuff. And it's interesting for some people, especially in my field, in my space, in my platform, to see me talking so much about this holistic work. But anyway, breathe easy, take it one step at a time. You're getting to know new layers of me, of us. And this is us.
I just had some realizations that I'll
What's
speak
your
about
realizations?
afterwards. Well, my realizations is just, I guess you've just spoken to it kind of, but like you were feeling a lot before this call, and now I'm realizing like, oh yeah, there's that whole actor versus practitioner, facilitator, change maker journey that you're on.
Yeah.
So, relationships. Relationships don't just happen. It can be really easy to think that they do just happen, because from the moment that we're born, we are in relationships. We are in relationship and in social interaction and human dynamic with our parents, with our siblings, with our family, with our friends, with our schoolmates, with our... Like, there is no life without relationships. It doesn't exist. And so we can think that, like, relationships just happen to be, and therefore happen to be good or not, or healthy or not, or toxic or not, or insert whatever word you want to insert or not. And actually it's not the case. And because so many of us just pick up patterns throughout our life, we assume that the way that we are in relationships is also something that just happens. Or the way that we find ourselves in relationships just happens. The way we find ourselves in our romantic partnerships, or with our friends, or with our colleagues, or with our family, just happens. And that's what we're speaking back to today. It doesn't just happen. There are patterns, there is social programming, there is conditioning, there is self-awareness, there is various layers and facets of human behaviour at play, and we can choose to be oblivious or ignorant of the way that we show up to relationships and just let it happen, or we can understand that there are choices that we have and step in to start making those choices that we're already making with awareness and with intentionality. And that's really what we're speaking about.
Yeah. Look, I guess for me, right, when this topic came forward, and I feel like this would be the crux of it, was a couple of days ago when I was thinking I was thinking, yes, ancestors, what are you saying to me? Okay. I was just thinking about our relationship. I was thinking about what we have, how we got here, and how a lot of people might just look from an outside perspective and assume that things just sort of found themselves the way they were. They landed in place, the pieces fell into place. Whereas the relationship that Yana and I have is the relationship that we worked for. And then it started to make me think that every relationship that is out there and its state, its health, is pretty much the relationship that those people have worked for. The relationship that you in is the relationship that you've worked for, whether you're aware of it or not. And a lot of the time is due to the tools that people have, what they have to help make their relationship what it is. And another big thing is you constantly work on your relationship. It never stops. You constantly reinvest in it. You constantly taking care of it. It's like a plant because it's growing, and when something's growing, you need to keep nurturing it, putting in fertilizer, putting in water, those are all metaphors for the kind of things that you invest in your relationship with your friends, with your family, even the people that you're born with. Those people, those relationships need tending to. Like, you ever find that you don't speak to your friend for a long enough time? Like, there's some lines that get a bit blurry. There's some aspects of how you relate that aren't the same. And they've started to shapeshift and form and grow into the humans that they're developing into. You've done your own stuff. And when you come back together, it's like, oh, we need to catch up. We need to catch up. We need to refine our footing. We need to adjust around like how this fits together again and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that's quick plug-in, a quick reason why I decided to change how I wanted to address my birthday this year. That's why I decided that this year I don't want to have a big get together and like everybody come screaming happy birthday for me and us singing and making a big noise wherever we were, or booking out some venue or anything like that. I wanted to have one-on-ones with all of the people that are in my life. I wanted to have one-on-ones and catch up and find out who are the people that I say are my friends. And from having actually put that into place, I started to realize there's some people in my life that I've never spent one-on-one time with. Like, I've known them for over 5 years, but I've never spent one-on-one time with a certain individual and got to know who they are, and they got to know who I am, and us take care of a relationship that is between me and them. And that's something that I'd probably pose and throw out there for people and say, when's the last time you did that with your friends? Like, you've got a circle of friends probably, but how often have you taken the time to hang out and have one-on-one time with someone that you call your friend? Hang out, go have a drink, catch up, find out what's going on in their lives, in their families and stuff like that. It's also something like, I'm just feeding a whole lot of stuff that is coming as realizations right now. Like, it's also like a part of the reason why so many people can be well known, still feel lonely. It's also the many reasons behind, or one of the many reasons behind, how some people still feel suicidal and feel like there's no one that they can connect with that will understand them, because we don't take care of relationships nowadays.
And taking care of a relationship as well doesn't necessarily just mean spending time together. It can also mean where you choose to take conversation, how much you choose to reveal, how you choose to have the difficult conversations, or the vulnerable conversations, or the tussles. I was with a friend yesterday, and he shared with me this realization that he had around, he shared a discomfort with someone, and he realized in sharing the discomfort prior to sharing it, he was like, I realized that I actually felt more comfortable feeling uncomfortable, like, and holding my discomfort in than sharing it. Sharing it with this person felt more vulnerable. And that had he not shared that feeling of discomfort, the next time he saw that person, he would have just ignored them. Right? So it's easier to just draw lines and barriers and put up walls and guards and armor and no, not here, not there.
Yeah.
And look, this is what we do, this is typically what is modeled for romantic relationships too, right? No, don't feel desire towards someone else. We're going to draw a line there and you can't go there. And then we like tussle with the repression. And then like, no, I don't like it when you do that thing, that annoying habit of yours. It makes me feel uncomfortable, so don't do that thing. And then the line is drawn. And we can end up boxing ourselves in and drawing all these lines rather than choosing to move into the vulnerable.
These are all
spaces,
aspects of elements and layers of ourselves that we allow ourselves to bring forward into relationships with other people. And I guess in what we're sharing right now, it's about how much of yourself are you allowing yourself to bring forward into spaces with people. And therefore, for me, those are the kind of relationships that I would say, okay, cool. Now you are on a journey in a relationship where you're exchanging and growing together, where nurturing has happened, where you're watering a plant that is about connection that you're having with somebody. And like we said, like the work that we do relationship work, but it's not necessarily just about the romantic relationship, the girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife relationship. Yes, this is also a part of it, but actually just at the pure foundation of every relationship is relating. And that's it. Like you exchanging and bringing yourself to a space with somebody else.
I think that one of the biggest things that we stand by, that we live by, that we are unwavering around is that it always and forever starts with self. If you have secrets inside of yourself that you can't admit to yourself, there's no way you can speak it to another human. If you have desires within yourself that you can't name, that you can't voice, that you can't express to yourself internally, you're never going to be able to express that with another person. If you have facets of yourself and layers of your reality internally that you are unwilling or unable to express or meet or bring your awareness to, then there's no way that anyone else can meet that layer of yourself. And this is how people end up in relationships where they feel like they don't really know the person that they're together with, right? Because someone, very likely both people in the relationship, are busy only presenting one aspect of self. And so the journey of healthy relationships, the journey of healthy relating, always starts with self. It starts with you understanding yourself, knowing how to love yourself, knowing how to meet yourself, knowing how to admit who you are, knowing how to fully express who you are, knowing how to be unapologetic and in conversation and in communication with your needs and your wants and your boundaries and your insert whatever words you want to insert there. It always starts with self.
I want to speak about communication. I guess I just want to touch on it. Coming back to how we started this live and just saying, you're in a relationship that you worked for, whether it's romantic or it's your friends or whatever, you're in a relationship that you worked for. How do you work for the relationship that you're in? How do you actively put in work? And that's just by applying tools. And the most powerful, most potent tool that you would put in work on for your relationship is the tool of communication. But
I just want to bring awareness to this question. What if you're in love with your ex, but in a relationship where that current partner is madly in love with you? What do I do? I feel like it feeds into what you're speaking about, which is why
I don't.
Okay, go on.
I
thought you were going to leave them together.
I'll get back to that. Like, look, quick thing. I mean, maybe it will. It probably will. It definitely will. But where I was going with it I wasn't thinking about exes and specific stuff. But I will get there, I guess. Yeah, man. Look, the most powerful, most potent tool that you can work on in any relationship is the tool of communication, and the tool of communication can be broken up into like many bits. And some people might think, oh, communication is just straightforward. You just say what you're feeling or say what you're thinking and stuff like that. And it's not that easy, because if it was, then everyone would be doing it. Like, people found themselves in so many spaces where they're like, I didn't know how to say. I didn't know how to say I love you. I didn't know how to say I didn't like that. I didn't know how to say what I wanted. I didn't know how to say, this is what needs fixing or addressing in our relationship. And that is where the work comes in. And I guess one of the straightforward laws about communication is how do you find safe spaces to communicate. And that's one of the big pieces that we share, that we teach on. These are the pieces that got Jan and I to go, shit, a lot of people don't know this stuff. In fact, it took a lot of work, a lot of journeying just for us to learn this, and just to think how many people in the world that we know and that we know of would benefit so much from understanding these pieces, these key tools. And so we began this journey of creating a course and offering so people can learn these tools to share with their relationship spaces, so that they can bring nurture and life to their relationship spaces. That's pretty much why we're here. That's pretty much why we're doing this.
I think one of the biggest blocks in communication is a lack of ability to put to words or to bring to awareness what is even going on. And so we think that it's about that thing over there, when really it's about that other thing. Or we think that it's this one part of ourselves that's feeling frustrated, when really it's another. And so one thing can get taken out into another place or another situation or another context, and suddenly relationships become a breeding ground for stuff that's misplaced. And this is where communication with self is always the foundation for communication with others, and where honesty with self is the foundation for honesty with others. If I don't know that I've got this thing bubbling inside of me and it suddenly pops, or I don't know that I've got XYZ happening internally, and then suddenly it moves in a sly or malicious or subconscious manipulative way, then it's always at the fault of me for not having the awareness around who I am and what it is that I need in that situation. Does that make sense?
Yes. So basically what you're saying is, I mean, what I held on to was when you said it's a breeding ground for things that are misplaced, is because we don't have tools of navigating communication, we often place certain things that need to be expressed in the relationship in a place or at a time that is not aligned to that thing that you want to share. So you'd speak about something in a time, in a place, sometimes even to a person where you shouldn't be sharing it with that person at that time, in that situation. And so we often have to do a lot of untangling, because sometimes you might be sharing something with somebody with the intention to heal, to bring life, expression, whatever, but you did it in a time where it actually causes more damage. I get that. Okay, cool. Let's get back to some of the questions that were being asked.
Do you want me to find them? Facebook, we are on Insta as well, but if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We would gladly answer
Lloyd,
them.
what's up, man? Sorry for not answering and brushing off your question earlier. He said, what if you're in love with your ex, but in a relationship where that current partner is madly in love with you? What do you do? It's not about the ex, and it's not about your partner. It's about you. So what do you want? So you need to sit down in a quiet space where you create safety for yourself, where no one else is going to disturb that flow of listening to your truth, and go, what do I want? Do you want to be with your ex? Do you want to be with your current partner? Because that truth is going to be the one that sets you free.
Can I add to that quickly?
Okay, go.
It's actually not even about being with your ex or being with your partner, right? It's about what you perceive you will get from each of those spaces. So, I sense that my ex gave me freedom or blah, da, 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 love, permission, this kind of, like, what is it that you perceive you will get from that space, and what is it that you'll perceive you'll get from this other space? And should it be a situation where neither of these people are the right person for you, or the right, let me just leave it at that, the right person for you, how can you give yourself those things that you're seeking? How can you give yourself those things that you need? Oh, that person loved me so much. Okay, beautiful. How can you love on yourself so much more? That person made me feel so confident. Okay, how do you bring yourself more confidence? Oh, that person, they just touched me so nicely. How do you touch yourself the same way?
So long story short, what Yana is saying, coming back what we spoke about earlier, is this is a first journey. Being in a healthy, honest space with yourself, find out what it is that you need, what it is that you want. And sometimes you might project that you want something from someone, whereas you're actually being invited to give that to yourself. Because sometimes we get into relationships and we become dependent on them. And we don't want that. Dependent relationships are ones that can cause a lot of hurt as opposed to love and healing. So try and find clarity within yourself if you're getting in a relationship to get something that you can nurture for yourself. And if not, and if there is a true desire for connection with another person, and it's one of these two people, then get clear with yourself which one of these two people it is for you. And let's leave it at that.
Question here. How do we know what tools are right for improving communication with yourself, or knowing what's wrong with you? She signed up for the vow. I'm excited for you to journey the vow with us, just acknowledging. First, can I jump in real quick on this one? First thing, the most important thing. There is nothing wrong with you. There is never, ever, ever, ever anything wrong with you. There are things that are not ideal for what you wish for and what you desire of yourself and in your life. But allow yourself to completely dissolve this idea that there is anything wrong with you, or right with you, or wrong about another person, or right about another person. Right and wrong are never useful for us. So you can simply ask, is this pattern, is this behavior, is this way of being useful? Is it serving me? Is it beneficial for me? But there is never, ever anything wrong. How do we know what tools are right for improving communication with yourself? Go on.
Long story short, so look, you're already in the right space. You're already signed up for the vow. You're gonna get all of these answers from us, and we'll probably guide you to find those answers within yourself too. When you learn to hold safety for yourself first, you will then be able to communicate with yourself. When you find the clarity of what your truth is, then you will be able to establish safe spaces to share that truth with somebody else. Now, creating safe spaces is a tool all on its own. That's why we said it's multi-layered. Communication is multi-layered. So many elements and so many pieces are a part of that conversation. And so healthy relating is actually, it takes more conscious work than we think. And basically, for people who are wanting to just navigate it for themselves at this current point in time, is just think about how can you create safety, one, for yourself, to then get to your essence, to your truth, and then think about how you can create a safety for a container between yourself and somebody else, so that that essence and that truth can be found. I'll leave it at that. But if you want to get sort of very specific tools, then you've already done what we are going to propose here, is sign up to the vow, and we will share everything that we know, everything that has brought us to health.
And we just to add to that, we pour ourselves into the containers. Any space where you sign up to work with us, we pour ourselves. So you ask a question in the group, we'll give everything we can to supporting you in me getting everything that you came for, in saying yes to this.
Sis Bootley, Soil Sister, we out here. Yeah, we're going to save this. I'm going to post it. Next question. I think I love my ex. Bro, I'm going to let you figure that out for yourself. And that's about it. All the questions are done. I think I'd love to call this to an end.
We can do that.
Yeah, long story short, like I said, we're here to let people know about us, our journey, the things that we've navigated, and the tools that we've found that brought us into the space that we're at. I think if you want to find out about what we've been through, we talk a lot about it on the vow. So you'll probably hear about like the kind of stuff that we navigated to get to here, and you'll realize just the extent of some of the hurt that is out there that we've been through. And I guess one of the big things that calls me to this journey to share with people what we do is both of us have been to that hopelessness of feeling like there's nothing that can shift what's going on. There's nothing that can heal this hurt. And so, one, you're probably going to give up on the prospect of finding a loving, nurturing relationship. Or two, you're going to give up on yourself being worthy of love. And those are things that we actually want to change the narrative for people around the world for. And say both of those statements are not true, especially if you want it. So if you want it, and if you want to apply something that may shift your experience of how you relate, one, to yourself and then to others, yes, romantic relationships included, friendships, family, just if you feel like you actually need to bring to health how you relate to people as a whole, I'd encourage people to jump on the vow. South Africans, there is an offer, a special offer that's going out to South Africans, because I just strongly believe, we strongly believe that because this work is kind of new to this land, we want to find ways to make it as accessible as possible. So if you're South African, reach out and we will let you know how you can get onto the vow at your own rate.
So just very quickly, things that you can expect from saying yes to the vow. You can expect to understand what it is that you need, to understand your boundaries better, to understand how to communicate yourself better, to understand how to love yourself better, to understand how to put yourself first in a really healthy, really beautiful, really nurtured way. Don't touch that. In a really healthy, really nurturing way, just because it's going to take us off the video if we do. You can expect to have much better conversation, a much more honest and open and deep conversation with the people in your world. You can expect to truly come into contact with more of who you are, and therefore love more of who you are and experience more of yourself in this world. And those are all just things that lead to so much more self-love and self-care and self-nurture and self-affection, and therefore love and affection and nurture and care within your relationships too. So that's a little bit of a
All right. We are out. Nyaniso Dzedze, Yana Faye Dzedze, the relationship gurus of Instagram and Facebook. We're not relationship gurus. Anyway, lots of love. Thank you for tuning in. If you feel like it's something that you want to try out, to go on a journey with, we're out here. We're gonna tag you the links and put the stuff out there so people can jump on.
Come join us. Bye.